Hello friends, today we are going to discuss about the research methodology which you can use for writing your research papers. So first of all, we will discuss about different topics like what is decision making. So first of all, we have to think about what we are going to write. So decision making is very crucial stage of starting your research work, and it is about how you are going to resolve a problem or how you are going to choose the most suitable alternative that can suit to your research. So what is the problem or opportunity? Then you have to identify how much information is available there and what information you need. Only then you can start a research work. Without having a understanding of the research work that is there for you to do, you cannot start the work. So if there is decision making ensures that from ambiguity you can move toward certainty, and this leads to enhancement of the value to the research. The uncertainty and ambiguity are something that we have to take into account. Certainty is something that decision maker has all the requisite information concerning the business problem or opportunity. Research may be unnecessary. Complete certain but the future is rare in real practice and the real world scenario. Uncertainty is a general nature of the business problem where there is lack of information and there is no uncertainty about what the course of action can take place. Ambiguity is the nature of the problem to be solved because it is unclear what is the reason why this is happening. So objectives are vague and alternatives are difficult to define. So research may be very useful exercise to find out what is the nature of ambiguity, how it can be resolved. So type of research, there are different type of research like explanatory research, which undertakes with the aim of clarifying the ambiguous problems, general problems, and the purpose is to get more information and to uncover certain facts and figure. Determine a specific course of action so that your organization can gain the benefit. There can be example like child care support program for employees or refreshment facility in office and other things. So type of research can be also descriptive research, which is undertaken with the aim of determining the characteristics of a population or a phenomenon. This is done with the previous knowledge of the problem. A high degree of precision or accuracy is required. For example, who are the main consumer of organic food? How many students read the prescribed course literature? Where do most holidaymakers travel overseas? When do petrol stations tend to raise their prices? So these are some of the questions which you can do through descriptive research. Causal research is undertaken with the aim of identifying cause and effect relationship between the dependent and the variables, independent and dependent variables. This has normally proceeded with explanatory and descriptive research studies, often difficult to determine because of the influence of various factors or different determinants or different variations or presence of other hidden variables. Like higher ice cream consumption causes more people to drawn inactive of causal relationship can be found through research work. So what are different stages in research work? First we have to define the problem. Then we have to design a problem, how we can design the research work, how the research work may be done. Planning a sample. First we have to study a sample, whether we are going in the right direction or not. Then we have to gather the information and then we have to process and analyze the data that we have collected, and then we can do some analysis and find conclusions and make the report based on the findings of the research. Forward and backward linkage is very important in the research work. Forward linkages are the earlier stage of research project determines the design at a later stage. For example, the goal of the research project will determine the selection of the samples and the way data is collected and how different tools and techniques for data analysis is used. Backward linkages that, like the later stage of the research project, determines how the earlier stages are conducted. For example, the company executive requires certain specific information which the researcher anticipates and for which he or she plans to collect the data and analyze the data collected. So flowchart of the research process is very important. First we have to define the problem discovery. Then we have to select the explanatory research technique or other techniques that can be used. Then we have to do secondary or historical data, pilot study, then experience survey and case study for more detailed study. And then we can define the proper statement of the research can be done, and then selection of the basic research methods or tool or technique can be adopted, and then we do the research work like survey, interview, questionnaire, experimental laboratory or field or secondary data analysis through different tools and techniques, and then we prepare the reports based on the findings. The flowchart of the resource process also continue by survey, interview, questionnaire, which we have collected the data. Then we have to design the sample. There can be a probability sampling or non-probability sampling, and then the collection of data, that is the field work, has to be done, and then editing and coding of the data in the software like SPSS, Excel, GIS and other software can be used. Data processing and analysis has to be done for finding the correlation and the other things of the different variables that we are studying in the research. And then we have to interpret the findings that we have found through different statistical and geospatial analysis tools that we are using. And then we have to prepare the report or the research paper based on the findings. Ethical consideration that we have to keep in while doing a business research, like we have to be more focused, we have to be unbiased while collecting the data, we have to do original research, we have to collect the authentic data, and we have to keep the societal norms and value. We have to be divergent perception of different people, different group has to be taken care, and different ethical and unethical guidelines we will discuss more in some other presentation. Some ethical interfaces in business research can be like subject rights, researcher obligation, client's rights and client's obligation. So researcher rights and client's rights have to be such that they don't have a conflict of interest and proper research is done. Ethical behavior that has to be considered while doing research is truthfulness in giving information to the researcher. If the research studies or respondent give his or her consent to participate in the research, only then they should be invited to in the research work. Sustained cooperativeness with the researcher throughout the course of the research study is to be ensured by the different participants. Adhere to responsibility if informed consent is given to the researcher, and state any constraint or limitations in advance so that the researcher is bound to do a good and authentic research within the defined boundary. No deception or foresight or do not conceal the truth for the purpose of the research. Maintain objectivity, courtesy, and high professional standards throughout the research work. No falsification, alteration, or misrepresentation of the data should be done for any political or economic benefit. Protect the confidentiality of the research subject and research sponsors. No faulty conclusions should be drawn. No conclusions or use of information or ideas contained in competing research proposal should be taken. So your work of research should be authentic and it should be useful by the society.